Well, hello, welcome back. Soul Search Sunday with Johnny Tiger and Kitten is hiding in the background. You, if I get too long-winded, you can even hear her start snoring.
And Aslan is playing with the cabinet door.
Yeah, Aslan is over here making noises, providing background sound effects. Uh, the date is Sunday, August 28th, 2022. We've had a pretty busy past few days, but luckily today we actually got to stick around the house and relax and enjoy the new furniture. We got some new very nice kitchen chairs. Mm, I got a spanking new computer chair. I'll show that to you guys sometime, maybe Music Monday, uh, where we go into the bedroom and show you guys a new computer chair. It's a beauty. Like it's like practically the most comfortable computer chair I've ever had. Um, it's awesome. Like it's a little bit too nice that whenever I sit down in it, I kind of just lean back and I kind of zone out for a little bit and like I tell myself I'm going to sit down and check email and I sit down and I go, oh, I love my chair. Oh, I love this chair. Oh, this chair is so awesome. And then half an hour later, oh yeah, I did say I was going to check my email. Yeah, so it's a little bit too nice. Maybe I'll get used to it. Um, so Soul Search Sunday. You know the problem with having a really busy week, having a very active schedule, is sometimes I look at it and Sunday I look at my phone and Sunday I go, oh no, oh crap, what am I going to soul search about? You know, like soul searching is something that take time and thoughts, and usually the topic from soul for our soul search Sunday either come from what happened to me, that's something out of the ordinary that happened that I want to talk about, or more often than not, it's something that I read about that triggers a memory, or something, some topic that I see on YouTube or Facebook that I have my private thoughts on. But when my schedule is so busy that I barely have time to sit down and check email, never mind watching anything on YouTube or look at anything on Facebook, sometimes I find myself ha having like a blank in my head when it comes to Soul Search Sunday. So today was a little bit like that, and I actually been struggling all day long to try to think of a topic because we just finished sort of a four or five piece series on art of conversation, and it's really hard to top that because that was a very detail oriented, very uh, in depth educational run. So today, just as I was prepping the video, just as I was setting up the phone, the topic suddenly just clicked into my head. Honestly, when I was setting up the video, I was thinking about talking about something else. I was going to talk to you guys a little bit about how to be a nice guy without people taking advantage of you, without being weak. And that would have been a good topic. So if I forget next week, maybe please someone remind me, leave me a comment on my other videos, maybe Survival Saturday, Fitness Friday. Remind me, hey, we want to hear about how to be a nice guy on Sausage Sunday. Because almost for sure I'm going to totally forget about it by next Sunday. So just as I was setting up the video, I, as quite often, this is actually a bit disturbing, quite often it's the case. suddenly have a change of mind and suddenly go 180 degree and like something click in my head and like, oh yeah, that would be a cool topic to talk about. So today, instead of talking about being a nice guy, or actually, it's even kind of related to being nice, just being a nice, good, decent person. I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about being right is not everything. Don't be too self-righteous because it really is not that good for you. I can't even remember maybe way back in the beginning of my Johnny Tiger videos, Johnny Tiger Daily videos. We've been doing this ever since the beginning of the pandemic. It's 2022, and I think we started in 2020. So wow, we've been going for a long time. So I think I even touched upon this in the beginning, like one of the earlier Soul Search Sunday. Uh, but I remember a story, a little story I read about a week or so ago, uh, while I was drifting off to sleep. That reminded me of this very simple fact that being self-righteous, being too self-righteous, being right, sometimes is not good for you. A lot of time, uh, when we act, when we talk, when we make a decision, one of the more important element shouldn't be are we right? Are we in the right? I mean, that's an important element, but the more important element should be are we going to hurt somebody with this? Now, most of you are very intelligent, most of you know immediately. Yeah, no, makes sense. You don't want to do things, you don't want to go out of your way to say things that's hurtful. You don't want to go out of your way to do things that are hurtful. That's obvious. You don't need to tell us that. We already know that. But it's not quite that simple because sometimes we may do things and say things that we don't think it's hurtful. We think it's right. It's the right thing to say, right thing to do at the time. Or even more seriously, more problematic is we don't even think at all. They just come out. The action, the word, just come out. We just not thoughtful. We are not being thoughtful. We are thoughtless at the time because we feel we are right. Because we know, never mind feel, we know we are right. But if you do or say something just because you are right, just because you can, and that thing result in some unintended harm, even though you didn't intend it, karma may turn around and bite you really, really, really hard, regardless. Right? So it's very important to guard our word, to guard our action, to really take a look at what are we dealing with here, what's the situation is, what's going on before uh, we open our mouth or we make a decision. Let me share with you this story that happened in ancient China, but can illustrate this point very, very, very well. This is actually a true story, but it has been told over and over and over again. So we are going to keep it a little bit shorter because this is not Wisdom Wednesday. I'm not going to go into too many of the traditional stuff. I'm going to change the name of the people involved so it's a little bit easier for you guys to understand and follow the story. But just know that this is not how the story was originally told, and the name and the places all that have been changed. But but as far as I was told, as far as I know, this was actually a true story. This actually happened. About 100 years ago, there was uh, a very poor scholar. Uh, his name was, what was his name? Kitten?
Was it Sean?
What was his name? You know what name do I usually use? George.
Oh, George.
Kitten's not even paying attention. Okay, anyway.
No, because I was thinking of a different story, but yes, I will call him George.
Whenever we need a name, the first name almost always George. There's a plant at Kitten's place that I named George.
Yeah.
I had to carry George in and out of the house, in and out every day. George was really heavy. Uh, so anyway, so it was this really poor scholar by the name of George. He was so poverty stricken that he could barely feed himself and his mom, his old aging sickly mother. George would write a few poems to sell, and then write some articles for the local newspaper, uh, and basically do some odd jobs that require him to write and edit things here and there. But honestly, at that time in China, there were so many people trying to be scholars. Okay, so unless you are really, really, really good at what you do, or unless you pass the imperial exam, most scholars were really poor. Uh, so George was really poverty stricken, and long story short, his mom got really sick. This morning, George came to his mom's bedside to bid her good morning, and he saw that she was not doing good at all. She was just feverish and couldn't even get out of bed. And George's mom said to George, I don't think I'm going to be able to live much longer. I can feel that this is going to be the end. So I have a wish. I remember when I met your dad used to make me this very delicious fish broth with lake trout. So if before I die, I would really like to taste that. And this broke George's heart because he is so poor he could barely get them rice and soy sauce. Okay, I don't know if they actually had soy sauce at that time, but okay, we're just trying to keep it simple. He's so poor, he can barely get some soy sauce and rice. How would he get her trout, lake trout, things that needed for broth? He looked around the house, and everything that could be sold or pawned already got sold or pawned. He didn't even have his desk. He had to do his writing on the floor. And he couldn't really sell his writing equipment, his pen and quill and ink pot, because if he sold those things, then he wouldn't be able to make a living. Obviously, couldn't sell the bed that his mom was sleeping on. Um, George looked and looked around the house, and finally he saw the uh, barrel, the big barrel that they make pickled vegetables in. He saw that there's barely any pickled vegetable left in the barrel, so he thought, well, if I sell this barrel, I can at least get maybe a couple of bucks, a couple of dollars. And with that couple of dollars, maybe I can buy a small fish. And maybe I can talk the neighbor into making the soup for my mom, making the broth for my mom. So at least she gets something. So he uh, took out the pickle, the vegetable from the barrel, and put them somewhere else. and then washed out the barrel, and then he took the barrel. And this was like really early in the morning, like 5 in the morning, 4 or 5 in the morning. He took that barrel and went and sit in front of the town marketplace. Put a sign. He quickly scribbled a sign: barrel for sale. Really emergency. Desperately need money. Mother's very sick. And he sat there and sat there, and finally, around 6 a.m., he sat there for an hour, a couple of hours, and finally, 6 a.m., a couple came by. And this couple was dressed very nicely, they looked really rich. And the woman said to the wife said to the husband, "Hey, look, someone's selling barrel, and hey, this poor guy. He's having an emergency situation, and we kind of really can use a new barrel at home. We've been doing more. We've been buying more vegetables. We did really good with our business, and we can really use another barrel. We can make more pickled vegetable for the winter." So the husband went over to the scholar and said, "Hey, dude, you're selling your barrel, and we kind of need one. So how much are you selling it for?" And the scholar said, "Well, he's a scholar. He doesn't know what things supposed to sell for." So the scholar is like, "I don't know, $5." And the husband was like, "Well, shoot, I mean, $5. Uh, I don't have change on me. I have a 10. We kind of really need a barrel. Uh, why don't I just give you $10 and count it as my uh, 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 me helping you out?" So the scholar was really happy and said, "Oh well, okay, if that's okay with you." And so just as the guy was reaching into his wallet to get the money out, uh, at this time there's a Chinese medicine shop across the street from the marketplace that just opened their door for business in the morning, and the owner of the Chinese medicine store, we'll call him Richard. Oh yeah, I like to use that name. Yeah, Richard. I know a couple of Richards. They're all paying my asses. So Richard, the owner of the store, if no one doing any shopping, so he just stood there. He saw this transaction happening, and he casually wandered closer to to see what's going on, and to uh, be a part of the conversation. And then Richard casually looked down at the bottom of the barrel, and he saw that there's kind of little crack, little fissures, little fish like hairline cracks at the bottom of the barrel. So Richard, without thinking, without second thought, opened his mouth and said, "Oh, this barrel is kind of broken." That's it. That's all Richard said. And the guy who was in the process of getting his money out of his wallet took a quick second look because he heard Richard. He heard Richard say it's kind of broken. And he thought, where? And he looked and he saw the little cracks at the bottom of the barrel. And he was really angry. He said to the scholar, "What the heck? I am here I am trying to help you out, and I was even going to give you double the price, and you are going to trick me? You're going to cheat me by selling me a barrel that is almost broken? Like, I get this barrel home and it might broke tomorrow, and wow, wow, like, I guess you're not a very honest person." So the guy and his wife left in a huff, leaving this poor scholar behind. And the scholar was so sad because he didn't know about it. He didn't know a good barrel from a bad barrel. This has been the barrel that he's been using for his whole life, and he didn't know that those cracks were not supposed to be there. And here he is really having an emergency, and his mom's sick and really maybe dying, and so he got really upset with Richard, with the medicine shop owner. He said to Richard, he said, "You messed up my business. You are going to you are going to have to pay in the end. The karma is going to get you." Richard kind of like, "Well, I didn't say anything wrong. You're trying to sell a broken barrel." So Richard didn't even apologize. He just shrugged his shoulder like, "Well, heck, what can I do? That's all I said. I said your barrel's a little broken, and that it is." And Richard just went back into his own store, turned his back on the scholar. The scholar stood there by his barrel and just waiting to see if anyone else would come and buy the barrel. And then suddenly, a very desperate man ran down the street with a couple of big sacks on his back, and he was so desperate and was in such a hurry that he tripped over the barrel and ran into George, and both of them fell over, and one of the sacks fell off the guy's back, and the guy was in such a hurry, he just jumped up and kept on running and disappeared. And George just like picked himself up. He was like, "What the heck? First, Richard messed up my business dealing, and now this idiot came out of nowhere and almost ran me over." And then he saw the sack on the floor, opened the sack, and there were diamonds, pearls, a lot of money in there. A lot of people would think that George would be happy at this point, right? Like, wow, I'm rich. But no, because George is actually a very honest person for the most part, and like he's a scholar. Now, a lot of scholars were very prideful people. So George was not, he would never keep money that wasn't his. So he stood there, like, started asking people, "Hey, who dropped, like, someone dropped this sack. Do you guys know, like, who these treasures belong to?" And just as he was trying to figure out where this money, all this riches come from, suddenly a bunch of soldiers and police officers and basically constables came out of nowhere, put him in chains, and took him away. What happened was the previous night, one of the very rich guys nearby, one of the millionaires nearby, got robbed and killed. And the guy who ran into George, who almost ran him over, was one of the robbers. That's why he had these sacks filled with treasures. But because this millionaire had a lot of guards and bodyguards and escorts stationed in his mansion, so as soon as the crime happened, that all these bodyguards and private mercenaries and soldiers was started looking all over town and chasing down these robbers. That's why the criminal was in such a hurry to get away, didn't even stop to pick up the sack he dropped. Well, because this millionaire was so well connected, there was a lot of pressure for the magistrate to solve the crime. So when the soldiers brought the scholar in and said to the magistrate, "We caught one of the criminals. Yeah, he had the sack right there by his feet. He was there on the street corner with a sack full of the missing gold and silver and pearls and diamonds. That he must be one of the criminals." Well, the magistrate was really happy. Wow, that was quick. You guys just left and you came back with this guy? And the scholar's trying to explain, "No, no, I was just there. I was just trying to sell my barrel. And the guy ran into me." Well, the magistrate would have none of it. You must think I'm some kind of an idiot. The guy ran into you, dropped all this treasure, and he didn't even pick it up. What? You think they just rob someone for fun? Like if the criminal drop all the sack, they would stop and pick it up. So you must be the criminal, at least one of them, because we know from information that we got from the house guard that there were more than one. So why don't you tell me who are your cohorts? Where are they now? The scholar tried to beg and trying to plead he's innocent, but the magistrate threw his butt in jail, uh, just uh, for more questioning later. The scholar spent the next 2 or 3 days getting beaten, getting tortured every day, but he maintained that he was innocent. On the third day, he said to one of the jail guards, "Hey, I need you to do me a favor. I I am innocent. I don't know if you believe me or not, but look, I live here in this address. I need you to go see if my mom's okay. My mom's really sick. All I was trying to do was sell a barrel so I could buy a fish to make her the soup." The jail guard actually, because he is a local boy, know this scholar's family. And he said, "Dude, I kind of wanted to tell you, but I didn't have the heart to tell you. Uh, your mom passed away the first night you got arrested. We already buried her." The scholar, George, totally devastated, heartbroken. All he wanted was to get his mom the fish before she passed away. But because he got arrested, because this nonsense happened, he never got her that last wish. So George said to the jail guard, "Take me to the magistrate. I'm confessing." The jail guard took him to the magistrate, and George said, "I did it. You're right. You're right. All this time, you're right. I was one of the criminals. I did it. I broke into that millionaire's house. I took the gold and silver. But you were right. I had a partner. My partner was the one that actually killed the millionaire. I just took the gold and silver." A magistrate said, "Okay, see, I knew all along. I knew all along. I was right. See, I'm so smart. Um, who's your partner then?" George said, "Richard, the guy that owned the medicine shop. He's the one that uh, put the whole plan together. He's the one that talked me into it. He's the one that killed the millionaire. Go get him." A magistrate went and arrested. The guards went and arrested Richard, dragged him out of the store. Richard had no idea what was what. He had no idea this was coming because, the incident between him and George was like 3 days ago. That Richard spent this past 3 days kind of feeling a little bit uh, unhappy about the incident. He's like, "Well, what the heck? All I did was mentioning the barrel was a bit broken. It was kind of broken. I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't say anything wrong. That's a stupid George, stupid scholar, get mad at me. Yeah, yeah, the hell with him. The hell with him." And then suddenly the guards came and arrested him, saying that he's the mastermind behind the murder of the local millionaire. Took him to the magistrate. Richard, like, I have nothing to do with it. Like, you guys can't just listen to George, and it's nonsense. I'm innocent. The magistrate would have none of that. And, like I said, the magistrate was under so much pressure to solve the case, and George already confessed, and if George confessed and he said Richard is the partner, then Richard must be the partner, because otherwise, why would George confess and then bring Richard into it? So the magistrate put Richard to the torture. whipping, beating, slapping, and all that stuff. We talked about the kind of torture that went on in Chinese court system before on Wisdom Wednesday, so I won't have to go through all that. Suffice to say, Richard, who is just a merchant, in, like, not used to this kind of treatment, couldn't take it, and very quickly he confessed under torture. He said, "Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, okay, okay. Stop hitting me. Okay, okay, fine. I did it. I did it. Okay, whatever, whatever George said. Yeah, yeah. Okay, whatever. I confessed. Stop torturing me." The magistrate sentenced both of them to death, and uh, the death penalty was quickly signed by the emperor because back then all the death penalty have to be double checked and signed by the emperor. And the emperor signed the penalty, the sentence, and then both of them sent to the chopping block, the head block, uh, a couple of weeks later. While they were kneeling there waiting to get their heads chopped off, Richard looked over at George with so much hate in his eyes and so much confusion. He said, "George, you have always been an honest man. Why would you do this to me? Why would you get me killed? You're murdering me. Why would you do this? Why would you tell them that I was the criminal that murdered the millionaire? Why are you doing this? I have wife and children. You're making this so personal that just because what? Just because I said your barrel was broken?" George said, "It's not about the barrel. All I wanted was to sell that barrel so I can fulfill my mom's last wish. But because of you, my mom never got her last wish. Because of you, my mom starved to death, being sick, and I wasn't there to even see her at that last moment because I was arrested. If you didn't say what you did, and I sold the barrel and I left to go buy the fish, the criminal wouldn't have run into me, wouldn't have dropped the sack at my foot. I wouldn't have been mistaken to be the criminal. I wouldn't have gotten arrested. My mom wouldn't have starved to death. So no, it's not about the barrel. It's because of you that I never got to see my mom for the last time and fulfill her last wish. This is why I'm doing it." Like I said, this is an old story, but supposedly was a true story, and this story really illustrates that sometimes just because we are right, just because we know something, maybe put a damper on it, put a filter on it, and let people do what they do, let people uh, let people alone. Uh, if you see a guy who is already homeless doing something that may be a little bit questionable or criminal, walk on. It's not your job. It's not. You are not the person, the responsible for dealing with things like that. The guy is already homeless. The guy may be sick. The guy may be desperate, right? Just because you know that they are doing something wrong, you might find yourself in a lot of unnecessary trouble by voicing, pointing out what they are doing and stuff like that, because this person is already down and out. Okay, sometimes we just live and let live, and uh, when they say turn the other cheek, it's a good attitude to have in this kind of situation. Um, if you see someone at work, if you have someone at work who's uh, maybe not very bright and not very good at what they do, and you catch them doing something that is a little bit like cheating, or maybe they are slacking off. Well, think about it. Maybe this person is really poor. Maybe they have to work 2 or 3 jobs. Maybe that's why they're falling asleep at work. You going tell the manager you're going to be a tattletale in this case may just earn you a really serious enemy, or in any case, some really unnecessary bad karma. So, being right is not everything. Don't let your self righteousness get in the way of living a peaceful, happy life. Keep to yourself, live and let live, and should always think opening your mouth or performing a certain action, is it going to lead to someone else's being hurt or someone else's missing out on something or losing something? Because if so, it is best to not do it and not say it and just move on. Obviously, if your job is a police officer or a security guard or stuff like that, that this is totally different because it is your responsibility. But this is more for the general public. So for regular civilians like you and I, it's nice to be a good Samaritan, but sometimes just moving on is the best course of action. Thank you for checking out today's Soul Search Sunday. We'll be back again tomorrow for some Music Monday, I hope, with a kitten. Uh, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.